Welcome to the channel. Today we will learn about shocking information. Meghan Markle burst into tears when a series of new details from the hospital were leaked, raising doubts about the birth of Prince Archie. Secrets that were thought to be buried suddenly appeared confusing both the media and fans. What is the truth behind the story? Let's find out now. Do you believe that Meghan really gave birth to Prince Archie? If you believe, comment number 2, and if you doubt this story, leave number 5. Don't forget to watch the whole video to understand better, and remember to like, share, and subscribe to support my channel to create more interesting content. What you're about to hear is no longer an unfounded internet rumor. This is a real media crisis, and it's headed straight for Buckingham Palace at breakneck speed. Meghan Markle is in a state of panic as a previously anonymous woman, now known as DL, has come forward with shocking claims. The birth of Prince Archie on May 6, 2019 was shrouded in doubt, but now the flames of suspicion are once again burning brighter than ever. DL insists that she is not an egg donor or part of some shady Hollywood deal. She makes it clear that she is a medically certified surrogate with a clear contract and has given birth to not only Prince Archie, but also Princess Lilibet. With her calm, confident demeanor and above all solid evidence, DL is putting Meghan and the British royal family in a very awkward position. What truth is hidden behind the royal doors? Is this the turning point that will permanently change Harry and Meghan's public image? And now DL is no longer silent. Let that sink in, because what she's revealing is more than just an accusation that Meghan Markle wore a fake belly during her pregnancy. It's a serious claim. I carried the royal children. I gave birth to them. And I have proof. That proof, DL says, includes medical records, signed NDAs, emails, payment logs, and documents from a California surrogacy company. She claims she was initially promised 2 things: absolute privacy and a decent salary, but in the end she was erased from the picture as if she never existed. And that story, according to DL, has been a drama that Meghan and Harry have been staging since the very beginning. Think back to Archie's birth announcement. No hospital exit, like Kate and William. No professional photographers, no press hordes, just Harry standing in front of the stables, smiling wryly and saying, "We're having a baby." At the time, many assumed the couple was just trying to keep it private. But now, with DL's presence and what she's revealed, all the past suspicions seem to be coming back, this time more fierce and dangerous than ever. And the internet, well, it was ablaze. Ministers focused on women's and children's health, and millions of views poured in on Meghan's infamous pregnancy clips. You know the ones, the belly flexing as she sat, the belly changing dramatically between public appearances just days apart. At the time, they were dismissed as conspiracy theory nonsense. But now even mainstream commentators are saying, "Hold on, we need to talk." Because if what DL claims is even partially true, this is no longer just a tabloid rumor. This is a constitutional crisis. We are talking about the British royal line of succession. 2 children presented to the world as legitimate biological heirs, tied to a centuries-old legacy, and welcomed with all the royal pomp. If Meghan did not actually give birth to Archie and Lilibet, and this was deliberately concealed, then this is not just a violation of tradition. It could be seen as an act of fraud on a national level, directly affecting the legitimacy of the royal bloodline. But the story gets stranger when you look back at the details that were once considered trivial. One of the biggest points of suspicion was the birth certificate. Just before 2 p.m. yesterday, Buckingham Palace announced that Meghan had gone into labor. But just 40 minutes later, when Archie's birth certificate was released, Something unusual was discovered. Meghan's full legal name, Rachel Meghan Markle, had been removed and replaced with Her Royal Highness the Duke of Sussex. It was more than a simple change on paper. It was the sign of something carefully controlled, perhaps even hidden. And if that was the case, then the story the world had believed may never have been true. Now that seems like a technical update. The palace said it was just an administrative change. Meghan later claimed she didn't know it happened, but now with DL's allegations, that administrative change looks more like a calculated legal move. Why? Because if Meghan isn't the biological mother, listing her as such could be a falsification of a legitimate government document. Do you think the royal family should clarify this or continue to keep quiet like they have been? If you think they should, leave a comment with 3. If you think silence is best, leave a 6. Every comment and subscription from you is a huge motivation for me to continue bringing better quality videos. Do you see where this is going? And Harry, where is he in all of this? According to multiple sources close to him, Prince Harry is completely devastated. He is said to be barely sleeping, snapping at his aides and pacing around their Montecito mansion. One former staffer even shared that Harry feels trapped in a lie that he once thought he could control, but now feels like it's spiraling out of control. The fatigue, the pressure, and the sense of loss of control are overwhelming a man who was once a prince watched by the world. Meghan, meanwhile, has chosen to remain completely silent. No social media posts, no new podcasts, no stories, no "Hello Sunshine" Instagram captions, nothing. And that silence for many has only added to the confusion. Behind the scenes, however, her legal team has been working overtime. They've sent cease and desist letters to news outlets and are even considering taking on DL directly in an interview. But DL is undeterred. She's willing to take a DNA test, she's willing to testify under oath, and she says she has nothing to hide. Those aren't the actions of a storyteller. Those are the actions of someone who believes her truth. So the question is, was Archie really born at Frogmore Cottage as has been claimed, or did the truth lie somewhere else entirely? DL says she was recruited through a high-end surrogacy agency in California, where she was kept completely isolated throughout both pregnancies. No friends or family were allowed to visit to keep everything completely private and confidential. Meghan's team took care of her accommodations, medical appointments, and even counseling to keep her stable and completely under their control. However, after the birth of Princess Lilibet, all communication between DL and the support team was cut off. She no longer received any care or attention and felt like she was just a vessel and not a person anymore. From that moment on, DL began to record everything in detail: email exchanges, ultrasound appointment logs, financial records, and even photos taken in medical facilities. These evidences, she said, were the key to exposing the truth behind this controversial story. DL claims that the NDA she signed was strict, but now that her side believes the agreement has been violated, she felt free to speak out, and she did. So why now? According to DL, it was not an act of revenge, but rather for her health. She revealed that she suffered from preeclampsia after giving birth to Princess Lilibet and was not given adequate follow-up care, which left her feeling betrayed and fueled her determination to speak out. Legal experts in the UK are quickly figuring out what the case means for royal succession. Constitutional advisors are poring over ancient documents and rules to answer a question that has never been asked before. What happens if a royal heir is born via a secret surrogate? This is uncharted territory for the monarchy, where tradition, bloodline, and legitimacy are at the heart of the system. and if they are compromised, it could trigger a full-blown institutional crisis. The public has also begun to react in a big way. Polls show that trust in the Sussexes has fallen to its lowest level since Megxit. Former fans have begun deleting supportive tweets, influencers have deleted old posts, and even famous allies have gone silent. In a world where authenticity is the most valuable commodity, there is nothing more dangerous than being exposed as someone who is faking basic facts. Meghan's legal team still seems to be hoping things will calm down, but DL's confidence and the mounting media pressure suggest this story is just getting started. The legal implications are playing out not only in the US, but also in the UK, leaving Meghan and Harry facing perhaps the toughest wall yet in their fairy tale. And the next step could be the all-important DNA tests everyone has been waiting for. DL didn't just make vague accusations and then disappear. She challenged Meghan and Harry to prove her wrong and publicly offered to take a full DNA test, including herself, Meghan, Harry, and their children, Archie and Lilibet. However, she stipulated that the test must be carried out by an independent third party with no influence from the royal family or the Sussexes. This demand for transparency has become a point of contention. If Meghan and Harry are confident about their truth, now is the time to put any doubts to rest. That's not happening, however. Legal sources say the Sussexes are trying to stall things. They've filed a preliminary injunction in California to block the release of documents DL has in hand. Meanwhile, Meghan and Harry's lawyers have sent legal warnings to at least 3 media outlets that were scheduled to air interviews with DL in an attempt to control the narrative and stop the story from spreading. Team Meghan's strategy seems to be delay, distraction, and denial, but the tide is slowly turning. Some prominent royal commentators are beginning to speak out, admitting what the press has been whispering behind closed doors for years, that Meghan's pregnancy appearance was never convincing, that the palace's silence at the time was a tactic to avoid public humiliation, and that Harry may have been more deeply involved in the story than anyone realized. Which brings us to another important aspect, the cover-up. DL says that when Meghan's team was approached in late 2018, they presented the surrogacy relationship as an exclusive arrangement with a tight contract, generous support, and a commitment to absolute secrecy. But things changed after Archie was born. DL says that not only was she hidden from the public eye, but she was also completely cut off from contact, not monitored or checked, and worse, there was no evidence in official records to support her existence in the story. She alleges that Meghan's team used an internal pseudonym to replace her name in medical documents, rendering her virtually invisible legally. And now the original documents weren't deleted. DL says she has them. Which brings us to the palace. Until now, Buckingham Palace has maintained a solid wall of silence around everything Sussex-related. No comment, no involvement. We wish them well. You know the script. But behind the scenes, that stoic composure may be cracking. Royal sources say Charles's senior advisors have quietly begun looking into the constitutional implications of a potential surrogacy scandal. Not because the surrogacy itself is controversial, but because an undisclosed surrogacy involving heirs to the throne could be construed as deception. The old rules when it comes to legitimacy, inheritance, and succession. If it turns out Archie and Lilibet were not born as publicly claimed, and if the palace even knew about it, it could trigger a constitutional review of their position. Put simply, if the truth is buried for PR purposes, it could force the monarchy to act. Some legal scholars have raised difficult questions. If the children were not born from Meghan's body, would that affect their status as natural-born royalty? Would their princely titles still be upheld under the 1917 letters patent issued by King George V? Could their line of succession be halted or even erased if the process was covered up? And that's not to mention the PR nightmare. Because let's face it, the monarchy is already struggling with public trust. If this scandal blows up, it won't just damage Meghan and Harry, it will sow doubt about how much the palace knew and why they didn't say anything. Meanwhile, back in Montecito, sources say the Sussexes are in lockdown mode. Staff have been reduced. Security has been doubled. Meghan and Harry are reportedly no longer speaking to some longtime friends, including a few in the entertainment industry who liked posts questioning the timing of their pregnancy. Ouch! Their Netflix deal is under review. Their Spotify podcast has been quietly put on hold. Their children's book brand is completely silent. And the carefully crafted image of modern royals as modern hip activists, spiritual parents, next-generation leaders, that image is now hanging in the balance. Because the story they've been telling the world for 5 years is starting to look like a script, and DL has just exposed the deleted scenes. Rewind to a key moment that now looks very different. Meghan's 2019 Vogue interview. She talks about the deep spiritual experience of becoming a mother. She talks about bonding with her baby during pregnancy, about reading affirmations about feeling the kicks in her womb. At the time, people applauded her honesty and intimacy. Now, people are scrutinizing her every word like detectives. If DL's claims are true, those quotes don't just read like lies, they read like acting. That's why this isn't just about royal protocol anymore. It's about trust credibility and a culture that values transparency over branding. And let's not forget, this is the same couple who spent years criticizing the press for its distortions and intrusions. But now they are accused of deceiving the very public whose sympathy they helped build their brand. It is irony at its finest. And the British public, they are not happy. Recent polls show a staggering 70% drop in support for Meghan and Harry among UK citizens. Even in the US, once their strongest fan base support has fallen below 40%. It is a collapse in real time. And while Meghan's silence has been seen as graceful and patient in the past, it now seems intentional. Especially given how quickly she has responded to lawsuits, legal letters, rebuttal, Instagram posts, and tearful interviews. So why is she silent this time? That question is growing louder as DL refuses to back down. She is reportedly preparing for a live interview with a major US network, a show set to air Sunday night with millions of viewers. If DL were to reveal medical records or even DNA material during the interview, it could be the decisive blow that could send the already shaky Sussex brand to the brink of collapse. The greatest tragedy, if even a small part of DL's story is true, is that the two children, Archie and Lilibet, were caught up in a media war that they had absolutely nothing to do with. They are now the central figures of a global scandal, while in the middle are two adults who have built their reputations on values like truth and transparency. So what happens next in this story? The answer remains to be seen. So let's dive into the legal side of this scandal. Because this isn't just a headline, it's a case that could be playing out in court, Word on the ground is that DL, our mystery surrogate turned whistleblower, is consulting with a legal team known for handling celebrity disputes and constitutional law. This isn't just her taking her story public. She's reportedly preparing to file a civil lawsuit, not for money, but for recognition. Recognition as the biological mother of the two children introduced to the world as Meghan Markle's. Now, before you dismiss this as tabloid folly, think again. If DL's claims are verified, this could be a landmark case. Because while surrogacy agreements often include confidentiality clauses, there are limits. And DL's lawyers are arguing that Meghan and Harry may have violated that agreement themselves by cutting off all contact with her and refusing to provide postnatal care as agreed upon in the contract. That could make that part of the NDA unenforceable, legally speaking. And if that happens, everything DL knew could become public record. We're talking hospital logs from Cedars-Sinai and another private clinic in Santa Barbara, correspondence between Meghan's team and the surrogacy company, invoices related to the private accommodations DL claims she was kept in during her pregnancy, and most shockingly, a signed paper trail showing Meghan's team acknowledging DL as the surrogate mother before quietly erasing her existence after she gave birth. Even the relevant agencies may be caught up in the drama. Sources say at least 2 employees from the California-based surrogacy firm used by Meghan's team have been placed on unpaid leave, pending an internal investigation. And one insider told a reporter, "Everyone knew it was a high-profile case, but no one knew it would blow up like this." Meanwhile, as the Sussexes prepare for potential depositions, palace lawyers are quietly closing in. They don't talk about it publicly. Of course not. But make no mistake, they're preparing for the fallout. The Royal Legal Council is reportedly reviewing decades-old succession laws, fertility protocols, and legal precedents regarding heirs born through modern reproductive technology. Because that's where the constitutional chaos lies. If Harry and Meghan did use a surrogate and didn't disclose it, would they have inadvertently defrauded the crown? We're not just talking about lying. We're talking about potentially introducing heirs to the throne under false pretenses. That's never happened before, not on this scale. And while Buckingham Palace may never say it, insiders have suggested that they're looking into Article X of the royal patent, which was issued under George V in 1917, which outlines who can be a prince or princess. It explicitly states that the heir must be genuinely born of the body. And it's that genuinely born phrase that's giving legal scholars headaches, because if Meghan never actually gave birth, and that fact was deliberately concealed, then the entire Sussex line could technically be invalid under strict royal rules. It sounds dramatic and far-fetched, but constitutional experts in the UK say, this is more than just a sensational story. It's a complex, ambiguous legal territory that has never been dealt with before in the history of the modern monarchy. The monarchy, which is ancient and steeped in tradition, is extremely averse to ambiguity or legal uncertainty. Any doubt about the heir's legal parentage could create an unprecedented crisis. But the story doesn't end there. The scandal has not only created huge waves within the royal family, but also had a profound impact on Hollywood, where Meghan has built a strong personal brand. Her Archie brand, once seen as a symbol of innovation, transparency, and inclusion, after leaving the royal family is now facing tremendous pressure from the public, the media, and even the legal world. This incident may not only shake Meghan and Harry's personal reputation, but also raise big questions about the future of the empire they have tried to build. The A-list connections who once hailed her as a modern-day Diana are suspiciously quiet. Celebrity endorsements have slowed. Podcast deals are on hold and behind the scenes. Sponsors are asking, what else aren't they telling us? What she's going to do is really get Harry to jump on something like that. You know she's going to have things that she doesn't like and tell him that it's making his life so difficult and he can't deal with her, so he just tries. A major liquor distributor that signed on to help launch Meghan's upcoming lifestyle brand is now reportedly pulling out. Their reason brand safety concerns. This scandal is toxic for business. And let's not forget, this was supposed to be Meghan's year of redemption. 2025 was supposed to be the year she rebranded again. From Netflix specials to skincare lines to children's books to women's empowerment conferences, she's poised to move from controversy to commerce. But all of that is being crushed under the weight of one woman's accusations. Because DL isn't just tearing apart Meghan's personal story. It's threatening her entire business ecosystem. Netflix, for example, is reportedly reviewing the Harry and Meghan documentary to assess whether any of the content may have misrepresented time or family history. One executive was quoted anonymously as saying, "If we broadcast something that is untrue, particularly in relation to a royal birth, it's not just a PR problem, it's a legal liability." And speaking of people backing out, have you noticed the silence from Oprah? The woman who gave Meghan and Harry their most explosive platform of 2021, where Meghan spoke about suicidal thoughts and racism in the palace, has not commented on the new allegations. Not a word, not even a social media post. Why? Because if these claims are true, it means Oprah's infamous interview may have contained serious misrepresentations. And for someone as powerful as Oprah, being taken advantage of, whether intentionally or unintentionally, is not a pleasant experience. The domino effect of this scandal is not limited to the monarchy. It is touching every room Meghan and Harry have entered since 2020. Even Spotify, which famously ended its deal with the couple last year, is said to be grateful they cut ties when they did. A former Spotify executive reportedly joked, "We dodged a bullet the size of a pregnant belly." We may laugh now, but the consequences are huge. Public trust in the Sussexes is bleeding. And for a couple who left the royal family claiming to want control of their own narrative, it has become painfully clear that they have lost that control. Yet there have been no press conferences, no video statements, no Meghan speaking out with the passion she once did. Instead, we have palace advisors in private meetings, legal teams reviewing contracts, old friends avoiding the press, and the public still left with questions that no one wants to answer. One commentator recently put it well when he said that Meghan and Harry are behaving like people with something to hide. And in 2025, even the slightest hint of doubt can be enough to ruin everything. We are living through what media experts call the screaming silence, when the story becomes louder, not because of new revelations, but because of the deafening silence from those involved. If DL does indeed make a public appearance on an international morning show, something sources say is being planned, there may be no going back for Meghan and Harry. If even a partial release of medical records or secret conversations with Meghan's team comes to light, public sympathy could immediately shift to DL. And what about the children Archie and Lilibet in this scenario?
I think the girls with their nails done now.
When Archie and Lilibet grow up and read these shocking headlines, when they hear about the surrogate claims, the title questions, the conspiracy theories circulating on social media, what will they think? And more importantly, what will they believe? Because no matter how Meghan and Harry deny, admit, or try to change the story, the damage is done, and the court of public opinion will not wait for royal approval. If there was ever a moment Meghan Markle could turn back time, this is probably it. The pressure from outside and inside is mounting by the day, with the tension at the Sussex's Montecito estate almost unbearable. Staffers describe a house operating in crisis mode. No one speaks above a whisper. No one makes eye contact for too long. And many of the family's top aides, the people closest to Meghan and Harry, have abruptly taken extended leave or resigned altogether. The serene image Meghan has worked so hard to cultivate, the photos of brightly lit kitchens, Montecito gardens, yoga mats, and mason jars of iced matcha tea, has crumbled behind the scenes. A source put it bluntly. They've gone from a shelter to a bunker. But what's most alarming isn't just DL's persistence, it's the fact that media outlets across Europe are no longer following the old rules. At a time when Meghan and Harry were still at the height of public sympathy, publications were cautious. They didn't want to be labeled racist or confrontational.
I think the girls with their nails done now.
But now, things have changed. Several major German and French news outlets have commissioned full investigations into the origins of Archie and Lilibet's births. And let's not forget, European media do not operate under the same libel and privacy laws as those in the UK or US. What they publish could be unsavory, and Meghan's legal team will have a hard time stopping it. What's more, DL isn't fading from the spotlight as many expected. She's gaining traction. She's being invited onto morning shows abroad, featured in long-form podcast interviews, and even approached for a book deal. She's being portrayed not as a celebrity seeker, but as a whistleblower, a woman who played a role in a global story and is now standing up to an institution that tried to erase her. And the story of a silenced woman finally finding her voice has been Meghan's signature. That's the most painful part. DL is essentially hijacking Meghan's brand. The roles have reversed. Meghan's silence now looks like high-class avoidance, while DL's openness comes across as brave, honest, and righteous. Behind the scenes, Harry is said to be falling apart at a faster rate than Meghan. While Meghan has been shutting out the world, keeping her blinds closed and avoiding public events, Harry has been seen walking around the Montecito estate at odd hours. A neighbor reported seeing him walking around the perimeter of the property late at night without security, muttering to himself and occasionally stopping to stare into space. Sources say he is haunted by the thought that his children might one day learn the truth not from him, but from newspaper headlines. And that fear, insiders say, is keeping him up at night. Because if DL is proven right, and the children are shown to have been conceived via surrogate under a false narrative, Harry's already fragile image could shatter completely. He has built his post-royal identity on transparency, on being a wounded soldier who escaped an institution that failed him. But if it turns out he was deliberately involved in deceiving the public about something as sacred as the birth of his own child, that's not just dishonesty, it's betrayal. And the palace, oh, they're watching closely. Buckingham Palace has not issued an official statement, but make no mistake, discussions are ongoing. The king is said to be deeply concerned, but about what this could do to the long-term reputation of the monarchy. Because remember, royal history is long. Reputation is everything. Once the public begins to question the legitimacy of a royal birth, Where does it end? If there's one thing the monarchy fears more than scandal, it's uncertainty. And DL's arrival has introduced a level of uncertainty they've never had to deal with before. Behind palace walls, senior aides are said to be pressuring King Charles to take a firmer stance, not necessarily in public, but in private.
I think the girls with their nails done now.
Discussions have already begun about the possibility of quietly reviewing Archie and Lilibet's royal titles, not stripping them outright but freezing them, meaning they would no longer be actively used in any form unless further clarification is given. It would be a subtle, behind-the-scenes move designed to protect the institution without adding to the drama. But even the suggestion of such a move could send shockwaves through the Sussex camp. Meghan, for her part, seems to have gone into full survival mode. While she's usually quick to issue carefully crafted statements through PR or legal representation, this time she's gone silent. No updates, no denials, no spin. Insiders say this was intentional. She's waiting to see if DL will just go away on its own, if the story will lose momentum on its own. But the problem is that it's not losing momentum. It's picking up speed. Every hour that passes without a response feeds public suspicion. People are digging deeper. Online sleuths are now combing through hospital personnel records, transport logs, even flight data to track Meghan's movements in the weeks leading up to Archie and Lilibet's birth. And while none of it is concrete, the questions being asked are too pertinent to ignore. For example, if Meghan gave birth at London's Portland Hospital, as initially claimed, why were there no credible sightings from staff? There were no nurse testimonies, no doctors who came forward to acknowledge her presence on the premises.
The girls with their nails done now.
And why just days before Lilibet was supposedly born in California, did a private plane associated with Harry fly to Nevada and back, a location now rumored to be linked to the surrogate's whereabouts? Again, none of this has been confirmed, but in the absence of clarity, speculation fills the void, and speculation, when given enough crumbs, becomes belief. And then there is the matter of the children themselves. Archie and Lilibet are rarely seen in public, and when they are, the photos are often tightly controlled. There is no press pool, no candid shots always filtered through the Archewell media machine. That used to be considered privacy, but now people are wondering if it is something else entirely. Is it a fear that public scrutiny might expose inconsistencies in their appearance, or that their existence, when examined too closely, might unravel the very narrative that Meghan and Harry have so carefully constructed? And it's not just hearsay, it's legacy, it's the monarchy, it's constitutional history. What happens next is anyone's guess. Will Meghan finally come forward and address the claims head-on? Will DL go live on a major platform and release the documents she claims to have? Will the palace intervene publicly? Or will this become one of those lingering scandals whispered in the dark corners of royal history, never fully resolved, always hanging like a question no one wants to answer? If there was ever a moment when Meghan Markle and Prince Harry wished they could slam on the brakes and reassess things, it's now. Because what started as a rebellious woman making unverified claims has turned into a potential constitutional nightmare, one that could fundamentally change how the modern monarchy is viewed for decades to come. And in the middle of it all, a deafening silence. DL hasn't gone away. In fact, she's pushing harder. Multiple sources confirm she's scheduled to appear in a primetime interview within the next 2 weeks, and she's turned over part of her documents to international legal advisors in case she's being gagged or pressured. She's not backing down, and the public is watching like a hawk. Yet the Sussexes remain locked behind walls both literally and strategically. There is no red table talk, no Oprah follow-up, not even a carefully filtered Instagram post with a cryptic caption. There is just a void where clarity should be. And that silence, once interpreted as formality, is now interpreted as evasion, or worse, confirmation. Let's not forget what's at stake here. We're not just talking about PR drama or celebrity spats. This is about two children presented to the world as royal heirs. This is about birth certificates, titles, legal succession, and trusts. If the palace was deceived, that's one thing. But if they were complicit, that's another. And if Meghan and Harry knowingly built their brand global influential commercial on a foundation of falsehood, then this is more than just a scandal. It's history. What Meghan and Harry do next will define everything: their reputations, the legitimacy of their children in the public eye, and even their relationship with the royal family, whatever remains of it. Will they confess? Will they sue? Will they present evidence and put the speculation to rest once and for all? Or will this be another chapter in the long, messy, and increasingly unbelievable story of Meghan and Harry, a couple who have left the throne but can't escape the spotlight? One thing is for sure: the world is watching, and no amount of royal titles, Netflix deals, or PR stunts can change what has already begun. The curtain has been lifted. And now, we all want to know the truth. And if the truth is what DL says, Meghan's fairy tale may have just become the darkest twist yet in the history of the monarchy. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over. So, the new revelations surrounding Meghan Markle's birth continue to fuel controversy. The truth behind it is still a big question mark, but one thing is for sure: the public will not stop asking questions until everything is clear. What do you think about the details that have just been revealed? Leave a comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next videos. Breaking news. The royal family has just made a massive announcement that's sending shockwaves around the globe. In a move that no one saw coming, they've revealed some major news about Camilla, and it's definitely not what you expected. Stay tuned as we dive deep into this royal bombshell and what it means for the future of the monarchy. Before we dive into the video, I have an interesting question for you. Do any of your friends follow the royal family? If so, drop a 1, if not, comment a 0. Enjoy the video, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to support the channel. Sitting in the Poet's Corner, where the memorial stands for hundreds of great writers, it's hard to imagine that this event would become a turning point. The royal scene at Kensington Palace, with the gentle summer breeze blowing through, seemed like just another ordinary charity event. Journalists and guests were ready for a familiar show: Princess Charlotte's radiant smile, Prince George's wave, and the dazzling photos that would dominate the headlines. However, what happened before the cameras was far from ordinary. Prince William, tall and strong, stepped forward before the crowd, not only with his usual speech, but with a look full of determination. Princess Catherine stood beside him, gentle and composed, her hand lightly placed on Charlotte's back. Prince George stood there, his gaze mature beyond his years. And then, in front of the nation and the world, Prince William made a declaration that would completely change the future of the royal family. We will step into a new chapter where the past is honored and the future is built with confidence, Prince William declared. As he recalled Queen Elizabeth II, her vision and hopes for the future of the royal family, tears were impossible to hide. But then it was his next words that left the audience stunned. "My family will play a larger role in the future as Her Majesty wished, My daughter, Princess Charlotte, will begin her official duties as a representative of the crown. The audience gasped. Journalists quickly raised their phones, and palace officials were left stunned. This was no ordinary announcement. It was a pivotal moment. Princess Charlotte, too young to be called a queen, yet stepped forward with an astonishing calmness. Behind her stood unwavering support from her parents, proving that they were not only leaders, but also ready to pass on the mantle of power in the future. There was no blessing from King Charles III, no participation from Queen Camilla. Only silence, a silence that spoke volumes. In that moment, the whole world realized that something had shifted in the power structure of the royal family. Behind the scenes, rumors about the weakening of the old guard had quietly spread over many months, even years. Subtle changes in social protocol and shifts in public attitudes began to reveal a clear reality. The monarchy was no longer driven solely by admiration for the youth and mystique of Queen Elizabeth II, but by the transformation brought about by new figures. Although King Charles had only recently ascended the throne, the atmosphere surrounding him seemed to age the moment the crown was placed upon his head. Meanwhile, William and Catherine were rising strongly, not only earning the public's affection, but also garnering impressive statistics, with polls recognizing them as the most trusted and admired members of the royal family. This couple not only captivated crowds during their engagements, but also drew attention from around the world. With every public appearance, William and Catherine not only made the people feel they were suited for leadership roles, but also radiated a fresh and modern aura for the monarchy. Standing firm in their commitment to royal duties, they had begun to let go of outdated traditions. Yet something more subtle was unfolding behind the palace doors. Sources from royal advisors began leaking information vague enough to deny but specific enough to attract attention. It is reported that William has been involved in secret negotiations with senior officials from the Commonwealth. Unverified sources claim that Catherine has taken on unofficial advisory roles typically reserved for senior members of the royal family. There are even reports suggesting that Princess Charlotte participated in media preparation meetings at a very early age, even before Prince George reached the same age. Some have dismissed these reports, but within palace circles, these moves are being closely monitored, especially by Camilla, who has been keen to maintain her position within the royal family. There have also been rumors surrounding the final letter Queen Elizabeth II wrote before her passing. According to these rumors, the Queen wrote a series of private letters to King Charles, Prince William, and even Catherine. While the contents of the letters remain undisclosed, one thing is clear after the Queen's passing: William and Catherine began to act more decisively, confidently, and strategically, far more so than Charles and Camilla. On one occasion, William was accused of refusing to attend an important meeting organized by Charles, choosing instead to visit a children's cancer unit in Manchester. William's visit attracted more media attention than the King's event in London that day, marking a silent rebellion. This was not an act of treason, but it stirred tension over the line of succession. While Prince George still remains next in line after William, Princess Charlotte's rising prominence is gradually shifting everything. Princess Charlotte's growing prominence at public events has led many to praise her leadership abilities, much like her aunt, Princess Diana. Some have even questioned whether the line of succession could shift, granting Charlotte greater power than originally planned. However, these are merely speculations and rumors from the media with no official confirmation from the royal family. With increasingly decisive actions, the announcement of a major statement from William instead of King Charles made it clear to the public the future of the monarchy has arrived. The king, while still the head of state, is slowly fading into the background, and William and Catherine have stepped confidently to the forefront. The king's absence from a key event led the public to question his health and ability to lead in his role. In the weeks leading up to this historic event, palace sources reported that King Charles became more reclusive, canceling public appearances, allegedly due to exhaustion. A quiet crisis unfolded within the royal family as plans and strategies were being quietly and forcefully reshaped behind the scenes. King Charles, who had always been meticulous and obsessed with his schedule, began to experience instability as his official duties started to decline. Initially, royal aides dismissed concerns about the king's condition, with one senior official even stating that the king was simply taking a break after a stressful first year. However, insiders believed the reality was different. Charles was not only struggling with his health, but also with a sense of failure regarding his role within the royal family. Although King Charles had waited decades for his time to reign, he found himself living in the shadow of his son, Prince William. Everywhere William and Catherine appeared, they were met with warm welcomes and admiration, a stark contrast to Charles, who often came across as stiff and cold, especially when accompanied by Camilla, whose presence still sparked controversy within the royal family. These tensions were growing, especially as the king seemed to disagree with senior advisors on how to handle the shift in William's public image. There were rumors that Charles had tried to reassert his power through a major trip to the Commonwealth or a high-level international conference, but all these plans fell through. These proposals faced political and practical obstacles. Subsequently, information began to leak from the palace that Charles was considering abdication, not a public resignation, but rather delegating more and more duties to William as part of a restructuring of the monarchy. According to some sources, this process began in the final months of Queen Elizabeth's life, when she urged Charles to prepare for a smooth power transition to William in the years to come. However, Camilla was opposed to any shift in power that did not center around her and Charles. Both had faced numerous scandals and challenges before claiming the throne, and Camilla had waited her entire life to become queen. She was unwilling to relinquish power to William and Catherine. The public actions of William and Catherine made her feel that this posed a direct threat to the royal power structure and was an affront. However, Camilla's opposition could not halt the changes that were unfolding. Charles seemed unable to resist the changes unfolding around him. He chose to retreat from the public eye, leaving a void quickly filled by William's confidence and decisiveness. The royal family, once known for its unity, now revealed clear divisions. Major events such as the Queen's concert, where William, Catherine, and their children took center stage, made it evident that power had shifted in a new direction. In a historic moment, as the afternoon light illuminated Kensington Palace Gardens, everyone was expecting a standard speech from Prince William, with the gentle appearance of Catherine and their children. However, what happened next was unforgettable. Prince William, with his calm demeanor and confidence, stepped up to the podium. There were no empty words or carefully prepared gestures. Instead, William began by praising his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. He described her legacy, her unwavering dedication to duty, and her silence. This was a clear statement about the transfer of power and change within the royal family. Wow, what a historic moment, right? Everyone, Prince William not only surprised us, but also inspired with his meaningful speech about Queen Elizabeth II. What do you think about this speech and the power shift in the royal family? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. In a shocking moment, Prince William changed his perspective on the future of the monarchy. In front of millions of reporters and royal analysts, he declared, "Our voice will certainly begin something new, not abandoning tradition, but evolving it. The crown is not a relic, but a living promise of how to serve, and that promise belongs to the future." It was a powerful statement marking a turning point for the royal family. Immediately after, William turned to his daughter, Princess Charlotte, who had always carried herself with royal poise, even at such a young age. In a surprising move, he gently guided Charlotte forward. Princess Charlotte will undertake her first official duties in the coming months. She will begin attending engagements with her mother, learning the meaning of service, and ultimately helping to shape a new vision for our family in this country. William declared, leaving the audience stunned. The public's reaction was immediate and filled with surprise, not only because this was an iconic moment, but also due to its strategic nature. The moment delivered a clear message. Princess Charlotte would not become a passive royal relic. She was being groomed to take on significant responsibilities with the potential to rival her brother George. Photos from the event quickly spread, showing Charlotte standing proudly behind her father, wearing a modest smile, and instantly winning the public's affection, especially on social media. It was not only about Charlotte, but also about William's vision of elevating his daughter's position in the public eye. He not only honored her potential, but also broke the royal power boundaries that had long been dominated by men. Previous generations would have kept Charlotte in the background, but William brought her to the forefront. Catherine, standing beside him, embodied grace and restraint, gently placing her hand on George's shoulder, conveying the message that this family was moving forward together. As the public cheered and editorials praised the royal family's modern approach, the applause was overwhelming. However, within the palace, nothing was peaceful. A simmering fury behind the royal doors began to surface. While the world celebrated Charlotte, one woman in the royal family saw only darkness: Camilla. As soon as Princess Charlotte's name was mentioned, Camilla was reportedly furious. According to palace sources, she believed William's statement was intended to undermine her legacy and that of King Charles. "She's just a child. This is madness." Camilla is said to have shouted when hearing about Charlotte's rise. Not only that she felt Charlotte's growing prominence was a challenge to her influence within the royal family. For decades, Camilla fought to transform from a figure of scorn into the queen consort. She overcame public hostility, media disdain, and even the lingering memories of past scandals. However, as Charlotte gained public attention, Camilla felt her power was being threatened, and that was not easy for her to accept. Princess Diana, though no longer directly involved, still cast a long shadow over every decision in the royal family. She believed she had cemented her place in history, and now with just one speech, William and Catherine had completely changed the script. Camilla immediately called for an urgent meeting with senior palace advisors. Some stories suggest that she confronted Charles, demanding that he issue a statement to restore order and reaffirm the royal hierarchy. However, Charles reportedly refused, citing exhaustion. He merely muttered, "Let it unfold." It has already begun. Camilla now felt isolated. Her relationship with Princess Anne, the staunch defender of royal traditions, had changed. Anne, who disliked media spectacle and wasn't a fan of public power, viewed William's statements as reckless and disrespectful to their father. However, for the first time in years, both Camilla and Anne found common ground not out of friendship, but due to shared resistance. They sought to rally support from senior palace officials, arguing that William's declaration could destabilize the monarchy's public image. However, the situation had shifted. Staff members who had once been loyal to Charles and Camilla now began to support William and Catherine. Foreign ambassadors, particularly those connected to Charlotte's son, reached out to Kensington, not Clarence House. Even major media outlets started to adjust their tone when referencing William's family, viewing them as the evolving face of the modern monarchy. Meanwhile, Camilla's fury only grew. A royal insider recalled how she would sneak around the palace late at night, slamming doors and making demands that were ignored. Anne, calmer and more measured, distanced herself from the situation and returned to her countryside home. But the reality remained: the public had chosen a new royal family: William, Catherine, Charlotte, and George. While the media focused on the rise of Princess Charlotte and William's statement, few recognized the calm strategic power behind the scenes of Catherine, Princess of Wales. While everyone praised her natural poise in public, her serene smile and grace, few knew that Catherine had spent years analyzing and understanding the fractures within the palace. She had studied the rhythm of the royal family, playing a long-term game with unparalleled skill. Now, her strategy was proving to be brilliant. Catherine was not just a wife or a mother. She had become the true architect of the monarchy's future. While Camilla struggled to gain public acceptance, Catherine had earned genuine love. It was a type of love that couldn't be manufactured or orchestrated. It was made through real moments from the heart. Each visit to a children's hospital, every laugh with a worried child, and every moment shared with her own children radiated sincerity. And it was this authenticity that made all the difference. Catherine had become her strongest weapon, managing the storm within the palace following William's announcement. In the days that followed, Camilla relentlessly applied pressure, but Catherine remained silent. When Princess Anne questioned her, Catherine refused to comment, her restraint becoming a more powerful response than any words. However, behind closed doors, Catherine never stopped thinking. She met with William every night to discuss public reactions, the media, and the next steps. Charles's loyal advisors began to visit William and Catherine's camp, taken aback by the clarity of their vision. Some believed that Catherine had secretly commissioned public polls months earlier to gauge the response to Charlotte taking a more prominent role. The results revealed overwhelming public support for the new monarchy's legacy and vision. This was not personal ambition, but a strategy focused on a long-term legacy. Catherine realized that the monarchy could not survive simply by preserving the past. It needed to evolve to remain vibrant. In Charlotte, she saw not just a daughter, but a symbol of everything the crown needed to become modern: compassion, the leadership spirit of Diana, the intellect of Elizabeth, and the calm fire of Catherine herself. Catherine's strength did not come from inheritance, but from the way she had built and proven her capabilities. Catherine is not just seeking glory or control, she is seeking stability and continuity for the monarchy that her children will be proud to shape rather than merely inherit. Once humiliated for her middle-class origins, she has now risen to become something far more powerful than a ceremonial queen waiting for her turn. She has become the guardian of the monarchy's existence and has brought about profound change to the palace. When the dust settled, the most unexpected royal revelation in modern history unfolded. The future of the monarchy was no longer a matter of speculation. Prince William, Princess Catherine, Princess Charlotte, and Prince George proudly revealed it to the public. Charlotte, calm and confident, captured the headlines and the hearts of the public with her natural grace and striking resemblance to Princess Diana and Queen Elizabeth. Her involvement in official duties signaled a major shift in her role from a child to a cornerstone in the next chapter of the crown. While Charlotte drew attention, George remained silent, yet alert, exuding the quiet composure of a future king. Though still young, his demeanor during the announcement displayed early signs of leadership. Not only through his duties, but also through a family that has chosen to nurture the monarchy with honesty rather than ego. Behind it all, William and Catherine are the quiet architects of a new royal era. Their images not only symbolize power, but also deliver a clear message. The future of the monarchy no longer relies on the throne or ancient bloodlines. Its strength now comes from the trust of the public emotional resonance and the integrity that the people can see. While Camilla and Charles retain their titles, their influence has subtly shifted quietly, but unmistakably. The generational shift has occurred not only in the UK, but also in the hearts of followers around the world. Charlotte and George are beginning to step into the legacy that awaits them. One undeniable truth remains: the crown not only endures, but is reborn, shaped by those destined to carry it forward. And there you have it, folks. The royal family has just dropped a bombshell with this massive announcement about Camilla. What does this mean for the future of the monarchy? Will her influence continue to shape royal affairs, or is a new era on the horizon? We want to hear your thoughts. Drop your comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more breaking news from the world of royalty. Stay tuned for updates. This story is far from over. Perhaps I should be subtle and say it like Bruce Forsyth, a famous British entertainer, who once shared with his show participants, "All of you are my favorites." Saying goodbye to someone who truly cares about you can break your heart. And that's exactly how the royal staff felt when Princess Charlotte left Kensington Palace. They had witnessed her grow up, taking her first steps, and when she waved goodbye, their hearts broke. Many couldn't stop crying. But could there be more behind this goodbye than what the royal family has shown? Join us as we reveal the reasons why Charlotte suddenly disappeared from Kensington Palace and the potential impacts this could have on the royal family. The silence that envelops Kensington Palace seemed like nothing unusual on an ordinary day in London. However, over time, a strange stillness began to take hold of the place. For most people, it was just another peaceful morning, but for those who were more observant, something felt off. Don't forget to leave a comment with a 1 if you empathize with today's story, or a 0 if you have a different opinion. Share your thoughts with us, like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what happens next, where we will reveal all the secrets right now. Princess Charlotte, the youngest member of the royal family, has always been the subject of much attention, and everyone remembers her adorable moments, such as when she made a small mistake at the coronation concert. Now her complete absence is also not something easy to overlook. What makes things even stranger is the silence from the media. There were no announcements, no film crews waiting outside the palace gates, no buzzing conversations on social media, and no signs that anything unusual was happening. The large gates of Kensington remained shut, with no indication that anything strange was going on. But inside the palace, longtime staff members began to sense a change. The silence was overwhelming. No more footsteps, no rustling of books from the tutor, no clinking of dishes at breakfast. The familiar sounds had vanished. The smell of Princess Charlotte's favorite tea, which usually wafted through the hallways every morning, was also gone. The purpose seemed to be to slow things down and speak less. As the silence grew deeper, the anxiety spread. One of the maids, a kind woman who had cared for Charlotte since she was a child, was seen nervously pacing outside the young princess's room. Her eyes were constantly fixed on the window, which had been opened slightly. Though this seemed ordinary, there was something unsettling about it. Occasionally, a light breeze would pass through the curtains, but it wasn't the gentle movement you'd expect from a fan or a maid walking by. Instead, it felt different, as if something more unusual was at play. The window was not just ajar. It was fully opened enough to suggest that someone might have passed through it. The light from outside softly illuminated the room, as if trying to reveal something in the shadows. The view stretched out beyond the palace grounds, where the stillness was replaced by subtle signs of something yet to be uncovered. Doubts lingered, as each small detail seemed to heighten the tension in the air, filled with unspoken implications. There were no alarming sounds, no shouting or collisions, nothing dramatic. But that made it worse. The calmness itself felt unsettling, as if something important had quietly passed by without anyone noticing immediately. There was an invisible weight in the air, as if the walls were holding a secret that had never been spoken. As the day went on, things inside the palace began to change further. Security around the grounds became more active. The royal guard, always on duty but usually blending into the background, was now more noticeable. Dressed in sharp suits and communicating through hidden earpieces, they moved with purpose. Scanning the area and whispering into their sleeves, their presence wasn't overwhelming, but strong enough to make others realize that something serious was happening. No official statement has been shared, and the silence surrounding the situation is overwhelming. Even among themselves, the palace staff has no clear idea of what is actually happening. Whispers are passed from one corridor to another, but nothing has been confirmed or officially acknowledged. A small rumor has begun to spread, suggesting that the Queen has postponed a previously scheduled meeting, which is highly unusual, given her well-known reputation for adhering strictly to her schedule. This unexpected change has sparked suspicion, and the staff already on edge grow increasingly concerned. The lack of clarity only heightens the sense of uncertainty surrounding the palace. Meanwhile, the king continues to act as if nothing is out of the ordinary. He moves forward with his public duties, his face maintaining a calm and collected demeanor, showing no signs of worry or concern. His composure, in stark contrast to the growing unease elsewhere, seems almost unnerving. He is not letting any hints of trouble show, keeping a steady front despite the rumblings behind closed doors. His calm behavior only deepens the mystery, leaving those around him wondering what is truly going on behind the scenes, as the palace remains eerily quiet about the situation. News of Princess Charlotte's mysterious disappearance quickly spread through the city like wildfire. In offices, cafes, and along busy sidewalks, people were talking. Where had she gone, and why did she disappear so quietly? The mystery only deepened as there were no photos showing her leaving, no statements from the palace, and no official updates. The usual royal SUV no longer appeared on its usual routes. Her personal assistant had quietly taken time off. Even the palace dogs, usually curled up by the fireplace, now wandered endlessly around the West Garden as if they sensed the change. Inside the palace, the only place that could hold the answers is Charlotte's room, but no one is allowed to enter. Her bedroom door remains firmly closed with no sound, no sign of anything happening inside. The once familiar items, the things everyone had seen every day, are now gone without a trace. The little stuffed animal that Charlotte always kept on her windowsill, where she often sat and gazed at the outside view, is also missing. An old pair of ballet shoes, once neatly placed next to her wardrobe, where she would often come and go during quiet mornings, has now vanished as well. On her desk, where there used to be open books, papers, and unfinished drawings, a handwritten note from Charlotte herself lies silently still unopened. Although everyone knows it is a personal message, no one dares to read it. Each person feels a sense of loss, as if a part of this life has been taken away with no way to fill the void. That piece of paper, though it is just a lifeless sheet, carries an odd weight, making anyone who looks at it feel the heavy silence in the air. From the outside, everything at Kensington Palace still appears perfect, peaceful, and serene as usual. The tall doors, the solid walls, the quiet corridors. All maintain their steadfast beauty unchanged. But inside it is clear that something is wrong. When a royal figure disappears so quietly without any noise or attention drawn to it, it speaks volumes more than any headline could. People wonder where Princess Charlotte has gone and what led to her sudden disappearance. The questions keep piling up, and the silence of the palace only increases the public's confusion and curiosity, leaving everyone unable to stop worrying about the fate of the young princess. Before we explore the potential truths behind Princess Charlotte's disappearance, it is important to take a moment to reflect on how she grew up and just how special and intelligent she truly was. The story of Princess Charlotte, the next generation of royalty, begins with a historic moment that made headlines around the world. Born on May 2, 2015, she immediately became a part of royal history. Though she was just a newborn, this event captured the attention of the public and the global media as she was officially welcomed into the royal family. When Prince William and Catherine proudly introduced their second child, they didn't just present another royal baby, but a little girl who would go on to create a significant shift in centuries-old royal traditions. For the first time in history, a royal daughter would maintain her place in the line of succession even after the birth of her younger brother. This broke a centuries-old rule, one that had previously only favored royal sons, and from that moment, Charlotte became a new special symbol within the royal family. The fact that she retained her position in the line of succession despite the arrival of a younger brother marked Charlotte as someone truly exceptional from the very beginning of her life. This was a pivotal change, not only in the succession system, but also in how the role of royal daughters is viewed in modern society. Princess Charlotte was not just a child. She represented a significant shift in the royal family, symbolizing both a rich tradition and a new era of change. Now, at just 10 years old, Princess Charlotte has already become a prominent figure within the royal family. She carries an exceptional confidence that far exceeds her age. It is clear that Charlotte understands the importance of the royal position she holds and carries this responsibility with surprising ease. While most children her age shy away from cameras and the attention of crowds, Charlotte faces them head-on calmly with a steadfast smile that when you look at it, you can sense her strong confidence. She shows no signs of fear or worry, And all of this is clearly demonstrated in the moments she shares with other royal family members. A recent moment with Queen Camilla further highlighted this quality in Charlotte. The young princess showed no anxiety at all, standing tall and handling the situation as if she had been doing it her entire life. In front of the public and the media, Charlotte remained calm, showing a remarkable composure under pressure that even adult members of the royal family sometimes struggle to achieve. Charlotte's calmness and ability to handle situations with such poise demonstrate that she is not only a smart and graceful princess, but also a promising royal heir ready to take on the responsibilities of the future. Another deeply touching example occurred during the funeral of her great-grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. During this solemn ceremony, Charlotte wore black and pinned a small horseshoe brooch, a quiet yet powerful tribute to the Queen's lifelong love for horses. As she walked, Charlotte displayed a sense of solemnity with her emotions tightly controlled, showing deep respect for this historic moment. When her older brother, Prince George, began to cry, Charlotte was immediately by his side, gently comforting him with soft words. She not only reassured him, but also guided him on how to bow respectfully before the Queen's coffin, demonstrating a deep sense of respect and empathy. This moment was not only a remarkable display of maturity for such a young child, but it also highlighted Charlotte's love, care, and responsibility, showing that even at her young age, she understands the weight of her royal duties. It was a moment that moved millions of people around the world. Charlotte displayed an incredible combination of strength, respect, and responsibility qualities far beyond her age. In that brief moment, she showed a level of maturity and composure that even many adults would struggle to achieve in such a solemn setting. Moments like these, full of grace and dignity, did not go unnoticed and captured the attention of people globally. Observers couldn't help but compare Charlotte to her great-grandmother, Princess Diana. Both share an amazing ability to blend gentleness with quiet strength, as well as kindness combined with unwavering determination. It's clear that Charlotte possesses the same qualities that made Princess Diana such a beloved figure. Charlotte may still be a child, but it's clear that she is truly remarkable. Like her late grandmother, Diana, Princess Charlotte seems to possess a beautiful blend of confidence and kindness. There's something calm and steady about the way she carries herself. Whether gently guiding her younger brother or handling public moments with grace each time she stands before others, it becomes more and more evident that she is growing up naturally. Becoming a young leader, one with both a gentle heart and a steady presence. Her parents, Catherine and William, have always tried to raise their children in the most normal way possible, doing everything they can to protect them from the pressures of their royal roles. But even with this quiet upbringing, Charlotte's confidence has begun to shine more and more. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by the constant scrutiny of the world, she seems to handle everything with a calm strength that even those closest to her find surprising. Those around her have also noticed this maturity. Family friends often comment on how she's more mature than her age, quickly adapting with intelligence to new situations, and always maintaining herself with quiet strength. Prince William has even joked calling her the boss of the house because she always takes the lead among her siblings. Even Queen Elizabeth, in a personal observation, noticed Charlotte's energetic personality and remarked that among all the children, she is often the one who takes control when it's needed most. From the moment of her birth, Princess Charlotte became a headline and a part of history. She became the first royal girl to retain her position in the line of succession, even after the birth of her younger brother. That simple fact became a symbol of progress in the royal family, signaling a shift towards gender equality. However, Charlotte's charm doesn't just stem from her place in the royal hierarchy. What makes people love her are the small, warm moments. The way she waves at the crowd with maturity, her mischievous smile, or how she helps Prince Louis sit properly at events, these glimpses into her true nature have made the whole world smile. There's something refreshingly unique about how Charlotte handles attention. While some royal children in the past have struggled under the public gaze, Charlotte seems comfortable, even joyful. She is confident in public, but still manages to let her true personality shine through. Whether in family photos or casual moments during royal outings, she never hides her true self. Her warmth and honesty have made her easy to love, and many say this is what sets her apart. She's elegant to the core and full of light, a rare combination that has made her beloved by royal fans and the public alike. Princess Charlotte's life has never been just about waving at the crowd or attending royal events. Her parents, Prince William and Princess Catherine, have deliberately raised her in a balanced way, respecting her royal duties while protecting her happiness as a growing child. They've worked hard to create a life for her that's not just about cameras and expectations, but one where she feels free, loved, and understood. They've made sure she knows her place in the royal family, but have never let that take away the simple joys of being a child. Every public step Charlotte takes is carefully planned with thoughtful consideration. Her safety and well-being are always the top priority. So when it was announced that she would no longer be living at Kensington Palace, the news felt like more than just a change of address. It was personal. For many, it symbolized a shift. Charlotte was stepping into a new chapter 1 that showed she was not just another royal child, but a representative of a new face of tradition, blending royalty with authenticity and real emotions. This move was not only practical but also deeply meaningful. It was intended to give her space to breathe away from the flashing lights and constant headlines, an opportunity to explore more about life and herself in a quieter space. Even as she becomes more famous, Princess Charlotte's appeal lies in her ability to remain calm. The cameras may follow her, the headlines may mention her name, and people may track her every move, but deep down she is still just a little girl. She smiles with ease, rolls down grassy hills without worrying about the world, climbs trees with wide-eyed excitement, and shares moments full of laughter with her brothers. Despite the pressure of her title, she has maintained her innocence. What's even more touching is how naturally she embraces her role as an older sister. Whether she's accompanying Prince George at official events or helping little Louis continue with his daily mischief, Charlotte does it with a caring heart and a gentle touch. She not only acts as a sister, but lives it fully. She's cheerful, full of life, and always ready to take on responsibilities when needed, while still making her brothers feel safe and supported. This relationship goes far beyond just being royal siblings. It is built on trust, closeness, and true love. They grew up relying on each other, finding joy in the little things, and standing by each other in both public and private moments. And it is this closeness, this natural unity between them that makes them special. Not just as young royal members, but as a real family truly bonded. Whenever Princess Charlotte appears in public, she brings a sense of calm that seems to surpass her age. She naturally soothes the atmosphere around her. Whether she gently encourages Prince Louis to wave at the crowd, or quietly helps Prince George feel at ease in front of the camera, her influence is both subtle and strong. She doesn't force anything. It's simply who she is. Although she is just a child, she understands royal customs better than many adults. But what truly makes her special is that she still finds joy in the little moments. She smiles with genuine warmth, and her actions seem effortless, never rehearsed. But her world is very different from most children. While others play freely without judgment, Charlotte lives under the spotlight. Every blink, every giggle, every step she takes is captured by the cameras and analyzed by the public. That's why her quiet departure from Kensington Palace feels like more than just moving to a new home. It is deeply personal. It means giving her space where she can simply be a child, where she can learn, grow, and breathe without the constant noise of public attention. That decision has given her a bit of freedom, something she truly needed. The grace behind Charlotte's presence in that moment also marked the beginning of what many now refer to as the Princess Charlotte effect. From the very first time she walked beside her mother in front of the flashing cameras, she captured the world's attention. And somehow, without even trying, she became a trendsetter. At just 10 years old, experts say she has influenced a multi-billion-dollar economy. However, her true power doesn't lie in what she wears, but in who she is. She doesn't chase attention, yet it seems to follow her wherever she goes. What draws people to her isn't just her style, but the way she carries herself with grace and confidence. Her charm is encapsulated in her sincerity. Her calm presence and mature handling of attention often remind people of someone very close to the royal family, her grandmother, Princess Diana. Many say Charlotte carries the same gentle elegance and quiet strength. Some even believe she reflects Queen Elizabeth II in the way she leads with quiet confidence. Like them, Charlotte seems to naturally understand the weight of her role, but she doesn't see it as a burden. It's something she steps into with comfort and silent confidence, as though she was born to lead with a kind heart. Every time Princess Charlotte steps out for royal events, whether she's politely bowing to senior royals, waving to the crowd, or walking alongside her parents during official visits, she carries with her a quiet strength and a level of confidence that is truly rare for someone her age. One touching moment that made many smile occurred during the Commonwealth Day service. As they entered the chapel, Charlotte gently placed her hand on Prince Louis's back. It was a simple gesture, but it spoke louder than words. It showed how naturally she cares for others and how she leads with gentleness. These traits are clearly formed under her mother's guidance, and Charlotte's combination of grace and boldness makes her truly stand out. She understands the weight of her family name, but carries it with calmness and poise. While Prince George often attracts public attention as the future king, Charlotte has carved out her own unique place in the royal family. People admire her not only for her role, but also for who she is. Many compare her spirit to that of Princess Diana. Charlotte is charming, yet strong, thoughtful, yet determined, seemingly embodying the same magical balance in how she treats others with the calm demeanor she carries. There is something familiar about her, something comforting. She makes people feel connected just as Diana once did. Charlotte's strong presence within the family didn't appear overnight. It is the result of many years of love and careful nurturing by Catherine and William. They have always aimed to raise their children in a balanced way, allowing them to enjoy the simple joys of childhood while gradually preparing them for the life they are expected to lead. And clearly it's working. Charlotte is growing into a confident, caring young girl, fully aware of the world around her. Share your thoughts on Charlotte's growth and how Catherine and William are raising the next generation of the royal family. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more exciting videos and the latest news about the royal family. When the family left their home at Kensington Palace and moved to Windsor, it wasn't just about changing houses. It marked something deeper, a purposeful step towards giving Charlotte a quieter, less scrutinized life. Being a royal child means growing up with cameras tracking your every move. But Windsor promised a quieter life, where she could laugh freely, make mistakes, and simply be a child. Even with the move, her charm has not faded. In fact, her nickname, Mini Queen, has begun to mean more than just her physical resemblance to Queen Elizabeth II. It now reflects the admiration she receives and the grace she is known for. Charlotte's strength doesn't shout, it whispers. It's in the way she stands beside her family and how she's growing with a blend of old traditions and new authenticity. She is carving out her own path, one filled with kindness, dignity, and a touch of modern charm. Her relationship with Prince William has added another layer of beauty to her story. From the moment she was born, his joy was evident on his face as he held her in his arms. He wasn't just welcoming another royal member, he was welcoming a daughter he would cherish deeply. Over the years, that love has only grown stronger. Their relationship is not just confined to royal duties, but is filled with truly heartfelt moments. They laugh together, share private jokes, and sometimes communicate with just a glance. One particularly sweet detail is the special name William calls her Manette. It's a French word meaning small, sweet, and precious. It perfectly captures their bond. Their relationship reminds everyone that behind the royal titles and the sparkle of the crown, there are parents who deeply love their children. In Princess Charlotte's life, the warmth and love from her father have played a significant role in shaping the thoughtful and graceful young girl she is becoming. Over the years, Charlotte's personality has grown brighter, and with that, her bond with Prince William has only strengthened. William has always been close and attentive, showing unconditional love for his daughter. Charlotte's cheerful spirit, confidence, and natural charm have made her stand out in the royal family in a way that is entirely her own. Every time she appears in public, Charlotte leaves a lasting impression with her grace and strong sense of self-assurance. William is clearly very proud of her. He not only supports her interests and passions, but also celebrates the things that make Charlotte unique. He understands that these qualities not only make her special, but also reflect the values and spirit of the royal family. The closeness, love, and support William offers Charlotte have helped her grow stronger and more confident in her role within the royal family. One of the things that has brought William and Charlotte even closer is Charlotte's love for dancing, a passion that runs deeply through the royal family. Her love for dance is not only a personal expression, but also a special connection because it links her to someone very important to William, his late mother, Princess Diana. Princess Diana was famously known for her deep love of dance, and now Charlotte Williams' young daughter has embraced that same passion. Seeing his daughter develop and share an interest that his mother once cherished brings William a true sense of warmth and closeness. For William, it's not just the joy of seeing his daughter enjoy something his mother loved, but also a stronger bond between the past and the present. Charlotte's continued love for dance, which honors and extends Princess Diana's legacy, creates a beautiful connection, a bridge between generations. This moment is special, both as a tribute to the past and as a reflection of the present, allowing William to feel deeply connected to both his mother and his beloved daughter. Their relationship also grows through their shared love for art and sports. Whether it's enjoying a ballet performance at the Royal Opera House, listening to music at a concert, or spending time playing games outside together, Charlotte and William have created countless special memories. And while royal life often comes with immense attention and pressure, William ensures that Charlotte feels protected. He helps her stay calm, making sure that the public's attention never overshadows her joy. A particularly sweet moment that touched many hearts occurred during King Charles's first procession. As they stood together, Charlotte quietly held her father's hand. It was a simple act, but it showed just how close they truly are. That small gesture demonstrated comfort, and the silent love they share. Even royal experts like Jenny Bond have noticed their special connection. She has spoken about the warmth and pride William shows whenever he is near Charlotte, something that is hard to miss. Although they are constantly seen by the public, their relationship goes beyond appearances. It is a deep, genuine bond built on love and true care for each other. Leaving Kensington Palace, where Charlotte spent her early years, was not an easy task. That home holds her childhood memories from the nursery, where she took her first steps to the rooms filled with laughter and play. The staff, who had watched her grow from a child into a bright young girl, were deeply moved when the family said their goodbyes. The car leaving was not just a sign of relocation. It marked the end of a special chapter. However, for Charlotte and her family, moving to Adelaide Cottage offered the opportunity for something new. Something more peaceful. Part of the reason they chose to settle in Windsor also stemmed from William's desire to be closer to Queen Elizabeth II in her later years. With the Queen spending more time at Windsor Castle, living nearby gave them the opportunity to enjoy quiet, private moments, simple walks through the garden, casual visits, and meaningful conversations. This allowed Charlotte and her siblings to be closer to their great-grandmother, not just as a monarch, but as a beloved family member. Moving wasn't just about leaving a familiar place. It was also about building stronger family bonds and creating new, lasting memories in a quieter, more loving environment. Settling in Windsor brought a gentle change to Princess Charlotte's life. Away from the constant demands of royal duties and the grand palace, her world began to slow down in the best way. The new home is humbler with fewer staff around and fewer formal rules. This change brought something more valuable time spent together as a family and more opportunities for Charlotte to simply be a child. She quickly embraced this quieter life, finding happiness in daily joys like cycling through garden paths, playing tag with her siblings under the sun, curling up with storybooks beside her parents, and sitting quietly under the trees, lost in thought. Life in Windsor has given her space to breathe, an opportunity to explore her own rhythm surrounded by peace and love. Along with this new chapter, Charlotte's educational path has also undergone changes. Her education has always been carefully planned to help her grow into a kind and well-rounded person. When she first started at Willock's kindergarten, she was introduced to music, letters, and the joy of learning. Later at Thomas's Battery, her confidence blossomed. Teachers not only noticed how intelligent she was, but also how curious and gentle she was. She was the one who asked deep questions and was always kind to those around her. Currently attending Lamrook School, Charlotte continues to develop both academically and personally. The school focuses not only on lessons but also on shaping good character, and Charlotte is thriving. Classmates and teachers describe her as polite, sharp, and full of warmth. She is the type of person who doesn't need to shout to be heard. Her leadership abilities shine through her quiet actions, her calm nature, her ability to listen, and her thoughtful demeanor. Though only 10 years old, she has learned how to stay calm and think clearly no matter what is happening around her. Her parents have played a significant role in helping her develop this quiet strength. What makes Charlotte's journey special is that her maturity is not measured by flashy moments. It is found in the small things, a small smile when helping a friend answer a question in class, quietly reaching out to hold her sibling's hands while walking. These small actions show that she is becoming a strong, graceful young girl with a heart full of purpose. She may not always appear in public, but those close to her know that she carries a deep inner strength and self-awareness. Moving to Windsor has allowed Charlotte the freedom to explore herself without the constant noise of the outside world. It has given her a place to breathe, dream, and create. Away from the crowded life at Kensington Palace, she has found space to grow in her own natural and beautiful way. Now in a different place, part of the royal family, another drama is quickly unfolding. Stay tuned to learn what's going on. Camilla is in conflict with Princess Anne. Princess Anne, famous for always putting the royal family above her personal feelings, has finally reached the point where she can no longer remain silent. For years, she was one of the most loyal and disciplined members of the monarchy, always choosing duty over drama. But this time, things have gone too far. The tension between her and Queen Camilla has quietly developed behind the palace walls for months. First, there were whispers, then raised voices, conversations that no one could ignore. Now, the cracks have become evident. This relationship is a cornerstone of royal discipline, but the drama doesn't stop there. The next morning, the world woke up to news that no one could have predicted. Buckingham Palace issued an official statement that changed everything. Queen Camilla was stripped of her title. This announcement immediately caused chaos on social media and among the public. How could someone who had spent years carefully climbing her way into royal life lose everything overnight? What could have driven the royal family to make such a monumental decision? To understand how it all unfolded, many people began looking back at the small moments that now held deeper meaning. One of those moments occurred at a formal royal event attended by Princess Kate. As the future Queen Catherine holds an important position next to Prince William, who will one day become king. At the event, Kate did something surprising. She did not bow to Camilla. It seemed like a small gesture that could easily be overlooked. But in the royal family, gestures like this hold much more meaning. A bow is not just a sign of politeness. It's a sign of respect and shows who holds seniority within the family. By skipping the bow, Kate made a quiet but bold statement. It was subtle, yet powerful. Some royal observers believe it was her way of showing her discomfort with Camilla's growing role. Others think it was a sign that change is coming and Kate and William are leading the charge together. In hindsight, this moment carries much more weight than anyone realized at the time. It wasn't just about breaking tradition. It was a signal and a shift, a sign that the future of the monarchy could look very different from what people have seen before. Everything from Anne's public stance to Kate's silent gesture tells a story of power shift underlying tension and a royal family redefining itself in real time. And in the end, what once seemed impossible became reality. The royal family made a decision that will reshape its future step by step. While Princess Anne's public confrontation with Camilla shocked many, those who were paying attention could see that the cracks had been forming for quite some time. It wasn't just a sudden disagreement. It was the eruption of tension that had been quietly building over months, even years. And now the world wonders whether this is just a temporary disruption or if the royal family is facing something even more serious beneath the surface. Camilla's journey from Duchess to Queen Consort was carefully mapped out by Queen Elizabeth II herself. Before she passed, the Queen publicly stated that Camilla would carry the title alongside Charles, a move that surprised some but was meant to bring balance and maintain stability within the monarchy. However, after King Charles officially ascended the throne, things began to change. Camilla's role was no longer just ceremonial. She seemed to be stepping into a space with real influence, helping to organize royal duties, shaping events, and making choices that some in the palace found uncomfortable. Anne had quietly observed this change, and eventually she spoke out. Her words not only brought attention to what Camilla had become, but also forced the palace to react in a way no one expected. It was more than just a disagreement. It became a test of traditional loyalty and leadership. Anne is said to have refused to accept Camilla as queen consort, arguing that while the title of queen consort was acceptable, Camilla could never truly live up to the legacy of Queen Elizabeth. The monarchy, rooted in history and order, could not allow such a public and emotional confrontation between senior members. So, in a swift and unexpected move, Camilla was stripped of her title. The news of her dismissal shocked the world. All major media outlets reported it. Headlines were filled with theories and speculation. People were divided. Some praised Anne for defending royal values and protecting the crown from backstage manipulation. Others believed the punishment was too harsh considering the many years Camilla had supported and remained loyal to Charles during his most difficult times. However, regardless of which side people were on, everyone agreed on one thing: the monarchy had changed overnight. This highlights the extent to which things have changed. Camilla invited many of her own family members and gave them prominent roles. Meanwhile, Kate's family, the Middletons, was almost completely excluded from the picture. For Kate, her parents and siblings have always been her source of strength since she entered royal life. This wasn't just a forgotten detail, it was personal and intentional. Her family had supported her through the toughest and most public stages of becoming a royal, and seeing them sidelined sent a message that was hard to ignore. It wasn't about event planning, but about power influence and quiet control. By sidelining the Middletons, Camilla not only weakened Kate's emotional foundation, but also revealed just how deeply the power struggle within the royal family had been unfolding. And although Kate didn't respond loudly or dramatically, her quiet response spoke volumes. Without saying a word, she allowed silence to become her message. In a family where every action is watched and every gesture has meaning, the smallest choices can have the biggest impact. In this case, they revealed a royal family not only facing a difficult time, but perhaps standing on the brink of a complete change. At a royal event afterward, where tradition expected Princess Kate to show respect to Queen Camilla by bowing, something unexpected happened. She did not do so. While most people in the crowd may not have noticed anything unusual, those who had been hurt or sidelined during the coronation certainly did. No one, including Kate, performed the respectful gesture toward Camilla. In the royal world, where every movement carries meaning, this was not an accident. It was intentional. A bow is not just a polite gesture. It is a way of acknowledging someone's rank and role. So when Kate chose not to bow or kneel, she wasn't just breaking tradition. She was sending a strong, silent message, refusing to acknowledge Camilla's growing position in the royal hierarchy. What might have once been quiet tension has now exploded into full view, revealing a deeper power struggle within the royal family. Camilla had spent years trying to establish herself within the royal fold. She carefully and slowly worked to win public support and secure her position as queen consort. But as her influence grew, so did the unease among senior royals, especially Kate, who had long been cautious about the level of influence Camilla was beginning to wield. Behind the palace walls, it wasn't just Kate raising an eyebrow. Even Prince William, who is typically known for being calm and keeping his opinions to himself, became concerned. Although he rarely speaks publicly about family tensions, William is believed to have his own frustrations about Camilla increasingly controlling important decisions. These emotions seemed to peak during King Charles's coronation, when some realized that Camilla was no longer playing a supporting role. She had taken charge in a way that made even the most loyal members of the family uncomfortable. And then the turning point came. Another key member of the royal family decided to intervene. Princess Anne, the king's only sister. Known for her straightforwardness and deep dedication to the crown, Anne had never been one to play political games. She values duty, loyalty, and fairness, and she is not afraid to speak up when something feels wrong. So when she saw how far Camilla's influence had grown, Anne knew it was time to act. Anne is believed to have refused to accept Camilla as queen consort because she felt that while the title of consort queen might be acceptable, Camilla could never truly live up to the legacy left by Queen Elizabeth. For Anne, the monarchy is built on history, tradition, and a sense of order that cannot allow for public confrontations or emotional conflicts between senior family members. The royal family, she believes, should maintain its dignity and stability. The idea of Camilla ascending to the title of queen consort was a deeply divisive issue, as it was believed that her presence in such a position could never match the lasting legacy of Queen Elizabeth, who had been a symbol of grace, leadership, and respect for decades. In response to this situation, and after much speculation and discussion behind closed doors, the royal family made a swift and unexpected decision. Camilla was stripped of her title, which immediately caused an international stir. The news was met with shock and disbelief, as it was an unprecedented move within the royal family. Major media outlets across the world jumped on the story with headlines filled with theories, rumors, and speculation about the reasons behind the decision. The shockwaves from the announcement were felt globally, as this was not just an internal family matter, it was a public spectacle that unfolded before the eyes of millions. Public opinion became sharply divided in the aftermath of this dramatic decision. Some praised Anne for standing up to protect the royal values and defending the crown from what they perceived as manipulation behind the scenes. These individuals believed Anne had taken a stand for the preservation of royal tradition and integrity. On the other hand, many others felt that the punishment was too harsh, especially given the years of unwavering support that Camilla had provided to Charles, particularly during some of the most challenging times in his life. Her loyalty and commitment to him were undeniable, and many felt that these sacrifices should have been acknowledged and honored rather than punished. This division further fueled public debate over the future of the royal family and its internal dynamics. So what do you think about this shocking decision? Was Anne right to protect royal values and safeguard the crown from behind-the-scenes manipulation? Or was the punishment too harsh for Camilla, considering her loyalty and dedication to Charles throughout his most challenging years? Don't forget to leave a comment with a 1 if you sympathize with Camilla, or a 0 if you have a different opinion. Share your thoughts with us. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Click on the next video that appears on your screen for more amazing content. See you in the next video. Breaking Meghan and Harry under fire amidst explosive financial scandal. What began as a tale of royal defiance and fresh independence has spiraled into shocking allegations involving massive financial misconduct. Are Meghan and Harry on the brink of arrest? In this video, we uncover the latest jaw-dropping updates, delving into suspicious transactions, questionable deals, and hidden money trails. Stay tuned as we unravel every detail of this breaking story. What's your take on Meghan and Harry's financial drama? Think an investigation is coming? Drop a 1 in the comments, if not leave a 0. Enjoy the video and don't forget to subscribe to support the channel. Recently, the documentary Where Has the Money Gone has sparked widespread attention by exploring the Sussexes' lives. The film poses the question, were you lucky to get a job, highlighting Prince Harry's struggle to adjust to life outside the royal family. Meanwhile, Meghan, known for the carefully crafted image she's built, now faces major life changes. Just a few years after announcing their decision to step back from royal duties for a more ordinary life, they're now living in a multi-million-dollar mansion complete with lavish amenities and top-tier security. Meghan once said they left the royal family to live a normal life, but the reality tells a different story. They now live in a $14.6 million Montecito estate, secured by electronic gates, armed guards, and round-the-clock protection. Their lifestyle mirrors that of Hollywood royalty, Meghan in pricey evening gowns and driving an armored Range Rover, while Harry earns millions from paid speaking gigs. This reality sharply contrasts the public image they crafted, struggling, resource-limited individuals relying on friends. What's puzzling is that after stepping away from the royal family and claiming they were financially cut off, Meghan and Harry have secured multi-million-dollar deals with giants like Netflix and Spotify. They've also inked a lucrative memoir contract with Penguin Random House. This has raised questions: how are they earning such huge sums? The contradiction becomes even clearer when recalling Meghan's tearful Oprah interview, where she said she had to lean on friends for support. A controversial aspect of Netflix's documentary is how it uses Princess Diana's personal memories and image not to honor her, but as a business strategy to attract viewers and investors. Many are questioning whether this is exploiting Diana's pain and legacy for profit. Rather than a healing tribute, it appears more like monetizing grief, a calculated move within their PR playbook. Meghan and Harry's lives today have evolved beyond the tale of two young people chasing a fresh start. Instead, they showcase how every aspect, from personal emotions to family stories, can be turned into financial capital. This prompts a crucial question: is their path truly one of self-discovery, or simply a savvy business strategy that leverages emotions and family legacy for profit? Crafted by some of Hollywood's sharpest minds, Meghan and Harry's story has shifted from palace loneliness and tragedy into a sprawling commercial empire. From the emotional moments in their groundbreaking Oprah interview to the showcase of their lavish Montecito mansion lifestyle, every element has been used to build their brand. They've transformed personal hardship into assets, spanning memoirs, podcasts, and even a luxury jam line called American Riviera Orchard. Their story goes beyond luxury living. It's a business empire built on commercializing personal memories. Despite Meghan and Harry's claims of having no home or resources after leaving the British royal family just a few years later, they own a multi-million-dollar mansion equipped with modern amenities and high-end security. This sparks a major question: how did they generate such an enormous fortune? Despite signing multi-million-dollar deals with Netflix and Spotify and landing lucrative speaking engagements, questions about the origins and transparency of Meghan and Harry's income have surfaced. Financial authorities in both the UK and US have launched investigations into their earnings. Suspicion has grown around anonymous donations, shell companies, and financial transactions routed through tax havens such as the Cayman Islands and Luxembourg. Financial experts suspect Meghan and Harry may be using strategies to convert commercial income into charitable donations to reduce tax liabilities or legitimize funds more easily. While such tactics are common among the ultra-wealthy, it raises serious concerns when applied by a couple who publicly advocate for transparency and fairness, making this a matter that demands careful investigation. Despite securing lucrative contracts, Meghan and Harry's living expenses remain extraordinarily high. Annual security costs alone are estimated between $2 to $3 million on top of upkeep for their Montecito estate private jet travel and a full-time staff. Financial analysts are now questioning whether the earnings from their commercial ventures truly cover such an extravagant lifestyle, or if there's an undisclosed source of income quietly supplementing their wealth. Amid unclear income sources and inconsistencies in their financial disclosures, the pressing question remains, where exactly does Meghan and Harry's money come from and where is it going? This issue goes beyond finances. It touches on transparency and ethics. Despite their public stance advocating for fairness and openness, the methods behind their earnings and expenditures have sparked serious concerns about the legality and morality of their financial practices. The reimbursements were submitted late and seem to have been altered from their original forms, while donation reports don't align with internal expense records, especially large payments made to strategic media firms, some linked to political campaigns. These discrepancies have raised red flags among auditors who now suspect a complex money laundering scheme concealed behind the guise of charity work and media production. This situation highlights the serious transparency issues surrounding Archwell, their charitable foundation. Exactly what began as a heartfelt narrative of healing and breaking free from royal constraints now seems overshadowed by complex financial dealings and a lack of clear transparency. The shift from emotional openness to financial silence raises important concerns. Former financial advisors questioning Archwell's lack of independent audits and incomplete reporting of commercial earnings only deepen public skepticism. This opacity fuels doubts about the true sources and uses of Meghan and Harry's money, challenging the image they initially presented to the world. It's a critical moment where trust and accountability are on the line. Harry and Meghan have built their public image around stories of personal pain, trauma, and victimhood, framing themselves as victims of the monarchy, racism, and rigid traditions. While this narrative has connected deeply with many, the constant use of their struggles in media, deals, speeches, and branding raises questions about whether they are authentically sharing their journey or strategically commodifying their pain for financial gain. This blending of personal trauma with business interests creates a complicated dynamic where it's difficult to separate genuine healing from a carefully crafted brand fueling public skepticism about their true intentions. As their empire expands, financial investigators have begun closely scrutinizing Meghan and Harry's money trails, signaling that this situation may escalate beyond a mere PR crisis into a high-stakes legal battle. Rumors within financial circles are intensifying with growing concerns that the controversy could lead to serious criminal charges, transforming the media spectacle into a courtroom showdown with potentially far-reaching consequences. With a tax discrepancy exceeding $250,000, Harry and Meghan face serious legal jeopardy. If investigations prove they intentionally used shell companies to launder illegal income, the case could be escalated to the U.S. Department of Justice, potentially resulting in federal criminal charges carrying sentences of up to 20 years in prison. Unlike in the UK, where public sympathy might sway outcomes, the U.S. legal system treats reputation as irrelevant in criminal matters. With solid evidence of tax fraud, they could be arrested without leaving the country, and subpoenas might be issued within days, signaling a swift and severe legal response. The growing financial investigation and potential legal troubles surrounding Meghan and Harry are adding layers of complexity to their situation, raising a crucial question: what impact will their arrest have on the British royal family? These developments extend beyond just the couple threatening to cast a shadow over the monarchy itself. How the situation is managed, especially in terms of transparency and fairness, could influence public trust and the future stability of the royal institution. Meghan and Harry's journey has evolved from deeply personal stories of pain and resilience to building a lucrative brand and business empire. Yet as their emotional narratives give way to silence and commercial ventures, growing concerns about financial transparency have emerged. Irregularities such as questionable reimbursements, inconsistent donation records, and discrepancies in financial reporting have fueled widespread skepticism, casting doubt on the true nature of their earnings and expenditures. The media has shifted from sympathy to satire, with shows like South Park and comedians like Chris Rock mocking Meghan and Harry, turning their once poignant stories of victimhood into mere branding fodder. If the financial allegations against them are proven true, they could face severe legal consequences, alongside the total collapse of their personal brand, losing media partnerships, and their remaining royal prestige. Their reputation risks becoming a global cautionary tale, potentially erasing their careers and legacy altogether. Thank you so much for watching. If you're among the millions questioning the truth behind the financial allegations against Meghan and Harry, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think their personal brand is on the brink of collapse? Leave a 1 if you believe this downfall is coming, or a 0 if you see it differently. Don't forget to hit like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our upcoming deep dive analyses. If the money laundering and tax fraud allegations against Meghan and Harry are confirmed, Buckingham Palace will face an unprecedented media storm. This scandal wouldn't just damage the reputation of a former royal couple, but could also deeply shake the very foundation of the British monarchy. The involvement of a former heir to the throne in such serious financial misconduct would be a major blow to the royal family's dignity, especially at a time when the monarchy is working hard to modernize and regain public trust. If the situation escalates, Parliament might take the unprecedented step of stripping Harry of his royal titles, not merely as a symbolic act, but as a strategic move to safeguard the monarchy's integrity. This possibility grows stronger if an international criminal case unfolds, threatening to taint the entire royal family's reputation. In such a scenario, the monarchy could also quietly exclude Harry and Meghan's children from the line of succession, especially if their parents face convictions or lose inheritance rights, all in an effort to protect the institution's future. The rift between Harry and the royal family, once appearing to heal, has now widened into a deep chasm that jeopardizes both the family's reputation and the monarchy's stability. Without decisive and transparent action, the public's perception risks shifting from respect for nobility to suspicion of complicity. The fragile trust the British monarchy holds could collapse like a house of cards, leaving the institution vulnerable to lasting damage if it fails to respond firmly and transparently. Meghan and Harry's journey from their explosive Oprah interview to their documentary series and memoir Spare has sparked widespread skepticism about media manipulation. The carefully curated narratives and polished storytelling have caused many to question their authenticity. If their pain were genuine, some argue they might seek privacy rather than maintain a constant media presence. Instead, their ongoing visibility has led critics to believe they are leveraging personal struggles to build a profitable brand. Ultimately, the public's sympathy has limits. Repeated heartbreaking stories risk losing their impact, and audiences are starting to turn away. Meghan and Harry now face a greater danger than ever before when people feel deceived. Empathy fades, and with it the support that once surrounded them. Meghan and Harry have expertly transformed their royal background into a continuous source of media content, using their personal story to fuel a powerful brand and career. What began as poignant accounts of pain and struggle within royal life has evolved into them becoming the architects and storytellers of their own carefully crafted narrative. Despite stepping away from royal duties, they still capitalize on their Duke and Duchess titles in every deal and public appearance. While they claim to have moved beyond the throne, they undeniably harness its prestige to bolster their fame and business ventures. Meghan and Harry have crafted a powerful brand centered around healing and overcoming pain. But the truth is, when pain becomes a business model, it can never truly be left behind. Over time, the repeated telling of these emotional stories starts to lose their impact as the public begins to see the media manipulation behind them. What once seemed like a fight for justice now feels more like a strategy to gain attention, generate income, and remain relevant in the media. What started as charity visits has now evolved into lifestyle campaigns, healthcare initiatives, and even luxury fashion collaborations. These endeavors stand in stark contrast to the image of individuals who once claimed to shun the spotlight. Their brand isn't built on core values but on their ability to generate attention. As the spotlight intensifies, so does their income. However, the absence of financial transparency and the way they've constructed their brand have sparked questions from both the public and financial investigators. Harry and Meghan have turned their pain into a multi-million-dollar brand, but the lack of financial transparency has raised concerns. Financial investigators are now scrutinizing their transactions, including shell companies and murky money flows. Questions are surfacing about the legitimacy of their income, their business partners, and the nature of the transactions involving them. Are their earnings truly above board? Who is behind the scenes managing their finances? Could they be exploiting legal loopholes to move money without attracting attention? One of the biggest contradictions in Meghan and Harry's narrative is their claim of being financially cut off, all while enjoying the lavish lifestyle of Hollywood royalty. This stark contrast has caught the attention of legal authorities because when you build a multi-million-dollar brand centered around scarcity and suffering, the last thing you want is for tax authorities to start asking questions. The investigation goes beyond just their actions. It's about who they're partnering with and whether they're deceiving the public and financial institutions in the process. Meghan and Harry may have created a powerful brand around their personal story, but the lack of transparency in their finances, relationships, and business strategies could lead to an uncertain future. If these suspicions prove true, they could face not only a media crisis but also a serious legal challenge. Their brand isn't just built on the narrative of pain. It's also a system being constructed and managed through questionable financial strategies. The story of Meghan and Harry, once seen as symbols of hope and compassion, has now evolved into a case study of brand building from wounds and pain. What were once human stories behind palace walls have transformed into an endless stream of content exploited by the media to create a brand and generate profit. The deals hastily arranged to maintain the illusion of progress are beginning to unravel as the public starts to notice the repetitive narratives and the lack of genuine commitment to their new ventures. The image of Harry, once the beloved prince admired around the world, has undergone a dramatic transformation. We all remember when he was the brave soldier in the Afghan desert, the grieving son mourning the loss of his mother, Princess Diana. However, that image has now been shattered. Harry is no longer the courageous soldier or the sympathetic son that the public once adored. Instead, he's slowly losing himself in the pursuit of fame, becoming a public figure who capitalizes on his pain, turning his personal struggles into a commodity content to have his wounds sold as content. The image of Harry, once the cherished prince adored by people worldwide, has undergone a significant shift. We remember him as the brave soldier in the Afghan desert, the sorrowful son mourning the loss of his mother, Princess Diana. Yet that image has now been shattered. Harry is no longer the courageous soldier or the sympathetic son the public once admired. Instead, he is slowly losing himself in the pursuit of fame, evolving into a public figure who profits from his pain, turning his personal struggles into a product content to see his wounds sold for attention. The tears for Princess Diana. The pain that was once shared so publicly have now morphed into a strategy to attract investors. The public once mourned alongside Harry, but now they are starting to question, is that sorrow truly genuine or just another part of a commercialization plan? These questions not only raise ethical concerns, but also legal ones. When pain is turned into a product to be sold, doubts arise about the true intentions behind their ventures, from memoirs to media programs. The issue is no longer simply, are they breaking the law, but are they deliberately manipulating the public for financial gain? Financial investigators are broadening their focus beyond just tracking the flow of money. They are now delving into potential contract breaches and the improper use of charitable funds. If money intended for non-profit purposes is being redirected into personal ventures, it could spell major trouble for Harry and Meghan. While no illegal activity has been proven, so far as financial regulators dig deeper, the question is shifting from whether they've broken the law to whether they've intentionally exploited the situation for personal gain. The story of Harry and Meghan has evolved beyond a simple family feud or media war. It has transformed into a critical matter of financial transparency and accountability. As the money trails grow murky and financial decisions raise concerns about tax evasion and avoidance, public trust will inevitably begin to wane. If Harry and Meghan fail to demonstrate transparency and integrity in their financial dealings, their credibility will erode, and trust in them may not endure for much longer. The story of Meghan and Harry has evolved from a quest for independence and rebellion into a carefully crafted strategy using public trust as a tool for manipulation. In an era where truth and ethics are in higher demand than ever, transforming a charitable image into a means of gaining attention is fast becoming a harmful narrative. While these messages may be gaining influence, the question remains, do they promote genuine transparency, or are they simply a clever ploy? Public opinion about Meghan and Harry is becoming more polarized. One group of loyal supporters defends their every action, praising them for being smart, necessary, and even inspirational. On the other hand, many others are growing weary, overwhelmed by the constant flow of personal revelations, ongoing legal battles, and repeated media deals. What was once seen as new and captivating has started to feel predictable. The underlying question is gaining traction. What are they really striving for? Are Meghan and Harry genuinely working to establish a lasting legacy beyond the monarchy, or are they merely grasping for public attention at any price? Are they truly seeking new sources of power, or are they simply trying to weather a financial storm beyond their control? As the rumors swirl, there's increasing talk that their legal team is bracing for every possibility, from tax audits and public record investigations to subpoenas.